to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty then. Hello everybody, this is Kirusho here. Now then, I apologize for sleeping through my alarm clock, first off. It sucks because basically as soon as I woke up, record, shower, go to work. Not fun. Not fun at all. Now, secondly, this is going to be, well, I want to try posting 2 videos tonight, to at least make up for not recording the second one, or well, earlier. So, let's begin. Now then, whenever we last left off, Deku, he had just cured Ida, as you can say, taking away his Ghost Rider abilities, and taking in another rider. Now, Deku, he doesn't really hear this rider, as they're basically just staying silent, not wanting to talk or really even say anything, as he can feel them inside his head. Now, Todoroki, they would get back to the internships, as Todoroki would just be asking and trying to get an explanation. How is this possible? What is it? And what the hell? To which Deku would just say, you just got your own answer. Todoroki being confused. As Deku would just say that, in his final moments, something and someone came to him. At first, I thought it may have just been an angel. Someone to take me away. I was right. Just, he wasn't an angel you could trust. What? That can't be possible. Many things are possible, Todoroki. You're just not aware of what is. Now then, Deku, he would just tell the writer to give him an explanation, as half of his face would coat in fire. As the writer would just begin saying that long ago, well, he's going to need full control for this, as Deku's entire face would coat with fire. The writer standing up and immediately turning to Todoroki, saying that long ago, he was an angel, the spirit of justice, and things went a bit unbalanced. He was tasked with taking down Lucifer, the devil, but that did not work. He failed and he saw everything. Every sin humanity has ever committed, and all the wrongdoings. It eventually drove him to the point of insanity, torture being the only salvation, the pain being the only thing he can take his mind off of, until he was put into his first human host. To which Todoroki would be confused. The writer would just explain more and more, and a bit more graphic details, which Todoroki can't really believe, until he would just ask, why can't you find any trace? To where the writer would just say, Mephisto wipes every Ghost Rider from the books. He didn't wipe us, so he has a game to play. This isn't fun for him, though, since we're going off his board. And the writer would just give control back over to Deku, as we'll cut over to the next couple of days. They are going to be going to the Force training camp. And let us begin on the bus. Everyone is talking, as Todoroki, he's being silent, trying to figure out exactly what to say. Ida, he's a bit confused at what to do, because he was scolded for his, recklessness, but he wasn't injured. So he should at least be thankful about that. Along with, he knows the secret too, however, he only knows about how Deku got his power. So this is a bit more tricky. He's not even sure what to say or where to begin. But before they can even talk, this is where Aizawa just announced that they are here. Everyone would hop on the bus. Now, Toru, I want to say over her internship with Gran Torino, she did get better control, and actually did work on physicality, being a bit more effective along with being able to use Black Whip in a productive way, along with a bit more of her emotional control with the quirk. So, she would be determined to do this, as she began talking with Deku, asking him exactly what's he thinking about. He would just say that he's thinking about a lot, really. It's kinda just crazy. He's been talking to and trying to get more information with that other writer. But that's not even the craziest part. Oh, really? Well, what is? As Ida would walk up saying that it's a bit more confusing than that. Huh? Yeah, that's just it. During the internships, Ida kinda found out. How? How did you find out? He made a deal with Mephisto. What? As she would turn looking at him, saying that she doesn't see any new powers. Well, he didn't get any different powers. Or, well, he got mine. As she just looks at him and tries to picture him with a flaming skull, saying that she's not seeing it. Well, I took it away from him. You can just do that? Well, I have a bit more experience with my powers. And his spirit was weaker. Clearly a knockoff, as you can call it. It's just hiding around in my head right now. So it's just annoying me. It's trying to get control, but me and the writer were able to hold him off and keep him out. So, as Deku, he would try saying that he's going to meet with a female writer. As soon as he starts that sentence, he would just get to I'm going to meet before the landslide would occur. And they would immediately be thrown off the cliff, as Deku would turn on his powers and immediately call for his bike, as the bike would just come jumping out of a giant wave of fire, surprising and somewhat scaring the pussycats, as they thought that Deku just carries it or, well, takes it with him. They were confused when they didn't see it, but this just threw more questions up into the air. Now then, this is where Deku, he would have been able to wrap his chains around the bike and immediately just hop onto it, as he tries to get everyone else with his chains. Able to suspend them in the air, he would catch some of them while Toru catches the rest, using Black Whip and balancing himself on the chain. Now, Deku, he would land on the ground with the bike as the whips are moving around. Well, the chains are moving around him. And Toru, someone has to counterbalance. Now, that is whenever he would set them all down, as the Pussycats would just say that they have more questions for him later. But for right now, work on getting to the other side of this forest. You have 2 hours, so, well, you better get to it. It also does have creatures in it, so you will have to fight your way through. Deku would just look up asking exactly what type of creatures, as one would step out. As Deku's eyes widen, he immediately begins to laugh, freaking everyone out. Now, everyone will just watch Deku as Deku, he tells the writer in his head that he can have a little bit of fun with these, right? Well, you're just gonna hog it all. No, actually, I'm letting you have fun. They're not human, so enjoy. as the rider would immediately just get excited. As he would rev up the engine, everyone immediately just watching as he goes barreling straight through this thing. As he begins to ride around the forest and begin destroying every one of these creatures, along with leaving a bit of destruction everywhere in his path. The chick with the quirk that allows her to know where her opponents are, she's trying to keep track of exactly what's going on. There are people moving throughout the forest, but there's one that's moving especially fast. And whatever's going on, she can't see where this one is. Her creatures are disappearing faster than she can try and register them. Now, after about an hour, Deku would finally pull up. Him just taking most of that time to eliminate everything. As Class 1A would get there 20 to 30 minutes later. It was a bit confusing because they were following Deku, and he was usually just destroying those things. They barely had to deal with any, so they're not injured. As Deku would see Koda. Koda's eyes would widen as he would see the rider. Deku would just take off the Ghost Rider form as he would walk over, asking Koda exactly what is he doing here. This is no place for a child. Koda would somewhat get annoyed, saying that, well, and before he could even continue, one of the Pussycat members would walk up, saying that she's sorry about him, but, he has really nowhere else to go right now. So he'll be staying with them while they're here. Okay. As Deck would walk away. They would be given raw material for food, and Deku would be asked more questions by the Pussycats, as Tiger wants a lot of these questions answered before the end of the day. Deku giving him fake answers and different things that he wants to know. How does he use those chains? A form of suspended animation and technique. How does he have so many? It's part of his quirk. Exactly how hot can he make his fire? Very hot. Things like that. Something Deku can just answer very fast and not throw unwanted attention to. Now then, Deku, he would just make whatever he could, because usually he just eats whatever he can. Now, they would create some old-fashioned food and eat it. Basically like a giant pot of stew and mashed potatoes, probably. Now, afterwards, they would all begin to train a little bit into the night, since they aren't physically hurt, and they would all go to sleep tired, as they would wake up the next day and begin their own training. Now, Deku's training is somewhat a bit weird, since he basically has to be in Ghost Rider form and raise up his power and his heat as much as possible, along with Bakugo having to be around him, which he kinda doesn't like already. He doesn't like being around the circus kids. Well, the carnival freaks, as he called them. Now, Deku, he would somewhat just focus his heat towards Bakugo, which kinda pisses him off more. It's basically like he's in a sauna and he's sweating a lot, along with the fact that he already does have to dip his hands in this boiling water, so it's not making it any easier. Now, that would be Deku's form of training, as he is learning to regulate it and get proper control over it in this time, along with the fact that he is actually getting a little bit more access to power, and is, improving on keeping his mental sanity. Now, let us cut over to a little bit of time later, probably about a week or two, into the camp. Everyone has had their training done, and that is where the villains would attack. Deku, he would just be walking with Toru through the test of courage. As a lot of people didn't really think Deku had to go through there, but, well, Toru kind of dragged him along. Since Class 1B trying to scare them would be pretty funny. Cause Deku can just, well, I would say he could take off his skull, but I'm pretty sure that would kill the rider. I want to say he could probably just, like, dislocate his jaw and start clacking it back and forth, up and down. Because I feel like that would be very scary to see. Especially if it's a flaming skull. Now, Deku, he's trying to think about different ways, and he would barely get through it, as there was a massive fire. He would immediately feel that there is a lot of sin around him. As he would get ready, his skull would light on fire as Toru would immediately turn to him asking what's going on. Deku would say that there is a lot of people here. Bad people. Now, as he tries to focus, trying to find where everyone is. Class 1B, most of them are in the forest, and wait. As he turns, immediately just darting, telling Toru to continue along the path and help 1B. And 1A. As she watches Deku leave. Okay, sorry about this, guys. I had to cut there. I thought my mic was muted and my heart dropped. Okay, now. Deku, he would immediately arrive to see Koda. Koda, he is somewhat scared because he can see the fire, and Deku would immediately just run over and get to him, as he tries to get back over to his bike. Now, as soon as he gets close enough to the bike, Muscular would come in. As soon as he comes in, he immediately just pushes the bike, and it goes flying over the edge. As Deku watches that. The bike was still in the Hellfire mode, so that's at least good. He can just call it back. Now, Deku, he would begin. He would just say that he is guilty. He knows it. Oh, trust me. I'm more than just guilty. As the man would just raise his head, showing off a pair of horns. Deku's eyes would widen. The man really does smell like sin. Just, that's his soul. Just as evil as a demon. So it's no surprise. Well, that explains the other smell. Let me guess, you're here for Toru. Yes, I am. And you might want to hurry. Tick tock, tick tock. As the demon just keeps saying. Deku, getting annoyed, would immediately rush forward. This demon immediately using Muscular's quirk as these two would collide hands. And Koda would immediately nearly get blown away, as Deku would use their hand to throw out a whip and grab Koda, as he would have thrown him towards him. He would immediately grab Koda as he would just tell him to stay close. Muscular would just laugh as he would just say that is not going to work. He'll just aim for the kid. As Muscular would begin, trying to fight and tear away at Deku. These two would have a bit of an extended battle, until Deku he is able to get Koda lower down to his bike. As he would have looked away, Muscular immediately smashed him in the face, as Deku gets sent flying through the woods, smashing it into a Nomu, and actually landing on it. He would turn around as he would immediately give it the penitent stare, thinking that this should work. To his surprise, it actually does, and he sees that this man was actually a villain with a weird history. Knives for arms, and a lot of other things and conditions. So it's not a surprise. He did smell a bit like sin, so he's not sure how to feel. Before he can even think about that, Muscular would come charging and actually flying towards him, as he sees a giant pair of wings. Deku, he tells the rider to give him more access. He's going to need it. To which the rider would just do so. Deku, feeling the mental restraints on himself, come a bit loose, as he's never tapped into this power before. He would immediately just jump forward and immediately launch towards Muscular, as he comes smashing and barreling into Muscular with a headbutt. As Muscular would have grabbed him and start charging him and actually flying straight toward the ground with him. These two creating a bit of a shockwave and a crater in the forest. The demon would just say that that's not going to work, as Deku would have turned, blasting it with hellfire. This actually does hurt the demon as Deku watches this, as he smirks, realizing exactly what he needs to do. Give it penance. As he uses the chains and begins to throw them towards this demon. One of them would wrap around the demon's arm as it just keeps trying to pull away. He watches as the fire from the chains is actually hurting and somewhat melting flesh, as the demon would have been able to break loose after just using the cork to create giant muscle fibers and slipping his hand through, after shrinking it. As Deku would have gotten close enough and drive his fingers and thumbs into the demon's face, ripping up these two apart, as he burns the demon away. Muscular being a bit dazed. He would try to keep his focus as he just sees the rider in front of him. He knows exactly who he is, so he would try to attack, without even thinking. Now, Deku would have actually gotten hit as he just stares directly at this abomination of a being, or well, person. Thinking that he knows the best way to get rid of him then. As he whistles for his bike. It would immediately appear as Deku gets on it and revs up the engine. He pulls out a shotgun as he holds it outwards towards Muscular and begins to fire, as it coats in hellfire. Muscular would have gone to dodge the shot, but that's exactly what Deku wanted, as he would rev up the engine and immediately start chasing Muscular through the forest. Muscular would be a bit, well, afraid. He's seen the rider's abilities, and he knows about that little trick he can do if he looks at him, so his best option is to just run. Now, while Deku is chasing Muscular throughout the entire forest, they would have come across Moonfish, Deku, getting a shot in and taking him down. Tokoyami, that's a bit different, so he just charges up his hand and throws a ginormous wave of fire, destroying the area around him. As it somewhat hurts Tokoyami, but the fire wasn't charged up enough to cause permanent damage, and the area around him produces enough light to calm him down. As Deku, he would hear in his head that Mandalay is giving them permission to use their quirks. Deku thinking that that's good. So, he needs to hurry up and find everyone else. He needs to end this quickly then, as he would just pull the chain from behind his back and throw it forwards, wrapping it around one of Muscular's legs, as he would immediately hit the brake and slide, hitting the accelerator, dragging Muscular throughout the forest, as he swings the chain overhead and throws it to the ground, as a portal to hell would be opened, sending Muscular there himself. Now then. Afterwards, Deku, he would begin to drive through the forest. If the demon and the human were connected, then that means there might be others. As he would run into Dabi. Dabi, he's a bit more, well, focused, as whenever he does get immediately found, he would have put his hands over his face, and just start by telling him that that's not going to work against him. Why? You do know I can still punch you, right? Well, yes, but what about that little plaything you have? Play. Where's Toru? As Deku gets off the bike, directly walking in front of this demon. The demon just says that not to worry. They have her. Oh well, one of us does. Deku grabbing Dabi by the throat and immediately lifting him off the ground. He would just say that he doesn't really know the predicament he's in, does he? Oh, enlighten me, writer. You're trying to be a hero. You don't kill people. Of course, I don't kill people. As Deku would rip the demon directly from Dabi, dropping Dabi to the ground and holding up the demon, saying that, but he kills demons. What? No, that's not. You shouldn't. That's against the rules. Well, I'll have you know, I don't make the rules. I follow the ones I was given. How? Why? Well, I'm guessing he never told you this, 'cause it would just take the fun out of his entertainment. Entertainment? How? What? Don't you know? He watches me. I'm guessing he was watching me right now. As Deku just looks around. Mephisto, he is sitting on his throne as he begins to smile. Now, Deku, he would just repeat the question, where is Toru? The demon would just say that she is that direction, as he points at his hand. Deku killing the demon by snapping his neck and dropping him to the ground. As he begins to ride. Now, he comes upon quite a bit of a scene. Toru was fighting the mustard gas villain, and there was a bit more than that. She kinda got hurt. And he sees something he never wanted to see before. Toru is laying on the ground, not moving in an entire pool of blood. As he can hear one thing. Do you want to make a deal, Ryder? As Deku would run over, seeing Toru's body. He gets mad as he begins to scream and actually just start by covering himself in fire. He begins to let loose. The rider trying to hold back the mental restraints on Deku, they would immediately be thrown away, as Deku goes on a rampage, killing everything left alive except for his allies and friends in the forest. As I would be trying to calm Deku down, as Deku, he's holding something in his arms, while he is thoroughly taking apart this lizard man and Big Sis, as he is trying to keep a cool. However, there is something weird flowing from the rider's face. There's magma flowing out of the eye sockets. How is that even possible? To which, after Deku does the deed on every villain there, he would finally get off the bike, crying. As they would just see Deku revert back, and exactly what he's holding. Everyone would walk over as Deku is holding onto Toru's body. And she is she's dead. Deku holding her close, trying to listen for even the slightest heartbeat. As there is nothing. Now then, that is going to be where I leave this part off of, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.